All right. Hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. We're talking about YMAX, the market, and how my strategy with SPXS is performing currently. What I want to do is kind of take you through exactly any recent buys that I had because I did do a buy in my Questrade portfolio. I want to talk about what I see for the market ahead, what I see for YMAX because this is my primary investment at the current time period, and what I might look to do with my SPX shares because currently the market is in a little bit of a correction. I wouldn't call this a crash by any means. It's gone down pretty sharply in the past couple days, which will touch on why exactly the market is going down. So there's a lot jam-packed into this video. There's a lot to talk about and a lot to be excited about. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video. We are currently up to, if I could zoom in here, 5,334 subscribers, 205 subscribers in the past 28 days. That is pretty good. That's pretty good, guys. That's not bad. And I want to talk about my portfolio here. I'm not doing this to flex by any means. I'm flexing that I'm down 2.5%, if that's what you want to say. But the reason why I'm showing you my portfolio is because I had a recent buy in YMAX, and that was due to the sharp decline in the S&P 500. Look, I am a long-term bull on the S&P 500. For the majority of time, these are the 500 biggest companies in the US stock market, by the way. And for the majority of time, I believe the stock market is going to increase in value as it should be and as it's been doing for the past 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years. Now, at the same time, I believe that YMAX will also increase. This is because although it's not directly tied to the S&P 500, there is a lot of major stocks in the S&P 500 that fall under YMAX. And within YMAX, what I do want to show you here is all of the Yieldmax funds. They are TSOY, which is Tesla. You have ARK Invest. I'm actually not a huge fan of ARK Invest, but they have a whole bunch of other ones. Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, Facebook, Google, all the huge companies. You have Coney as well, Netflix, Disney, a little bit more diversified. You have Square. You have even ones like Ybit, which is Bitcoin. There's a whole bunch of different things when you're investing into YMAX. And I also have up a sheet here which kind of shows the weighting of each. Every single time that a new ETF is introduced to Yieldmax, the weighting gets less and YMAX becomes a touch bit more diversified because it's adding a new and different stock. And what's very cool about YMAX is, and what I actually really like about YMAX the most, is that it's relatively stable. And I want to show this by kind of showing a little bit of my watch list. So I have YMAX in the bottom here. You can see it was down about 8.7%. I can't really highlight that here. I can only kind of show you by flicking. 0.87% it was down on the day, while stocks such as Coney was down 5.15%. You have Square 0.39%. We jump all the way up here to TSOY, which is actually up 2%. MSTY down 2%. You can see they're all over the board when it comes to the Yieldmax ETFs. And the reason why I like investing in YMAX is it is a lot more stable and a lot more predictable than a lot of these other Yieldmax ETFs. Look, I have owned TSOY, Square, which I still own TSOY and Square in other portfolios. But the reason why I'm investing more in YMAX is because of its stability. It's a lot less crazy with the share price fluctuations. Okay, it does go down. For example, the other day when the S&P 500 was down about 2.5%, YMAX was down about 3%. I really don't think you could really help that. I understand why, but it's not as crazy as all these individual stocks when we're looking at stocks like Coney, TSOY, and it still offers a fantastic dividend yield, which I think that everyone can pretty much, who's watching this, can agree. Now, in terms of YMAX, I actually got a recent buy, and I want to show you guys my buy right here. Basically, this was my buy. I bought at $18.71, and I bought 62 shares. And that was a pretty substantial buy for myself. What I want to show here, and a pretty substantial buy for myself at that. I can't really show you any more there. I don't know what happened there, but I want to just show you that 62 shares times the current dividend at YMAX. This is exactly what I just bought at 65 cents. So we're going to go times 0.65 will bring me about $40 more in monthly income. And this was just one purchase that I made. That is pretty fantastic. You can see here my income for this Questrade high yield portfolio, which consists primarily of YMAX, jumped up to $136 for next month's payout, which is fantastic. And it's only going to rise as I add more money in. But that is YMAX's payout, and that was a price that I actually bought it at. And since then, YMAX has continued to go down, and from here, who knows? It might continue to even hit markers as low as $17. It all depends on the S&P 500, because really this is kind of the benchmark for YMAX. A lot of the YMAX holdings, understand they're Yieldmax holdings, they're all synthetic cover call strategy ETFs, but the underlying stocks all fall in the S&P 500. And so what do I feel for the S&P 500? I think more downturn is upon us. We cracked through this support here, which was pretty big at $540, $544, something like that. We're currently at $538. And there was a lot of downside around Tesla and Google earnings, with Tesla going down about 10% in that day. You can see 12% just a couple days ago. And Google was the same story. But overall, I was kind of reading up on the US economy and everything like that and people's opinions. And I could go through this article, which would be extremely boring, but basically explains how the US is still doing fairly good. GDP is up 2.8%, more than 2%, which was kind of the consensus and what analysts thought was going to happen. But the economy is doing pretty good. There was kind of fears of a recession, as there always is, but that has kind of died down since that was a main topic in 2022 and 2023, but we haven't really heard much since then. Things have been a lot more stable in our economy, and that's why we've really been seeing this pretty stable growth to the upside for the S&P 500, and it did translate for a period of time to YMAX. But of course, when the S&P 500 goes down, YMAX gets hit very hard. And what do I see this as? I see this as a buying opportunity to purchase more YMAX shares. And that's exactly what I did. Now, what am I doing with my SPXS position? This position, I'm just holding it. Look, with this position, let me show you here. I have an average price of $17.84. Current share price is $8.15. So I'm up a little bit, only have about 670, something about there invested into SPXS. That's the current market value. But what I'll do is I'll look to see when the market looks to shift. And right now, I don't think it's shifting. We see huge moves to the downside. We see big uncertainty in the market, and you don't want to try and catch a falling knife. I understand. Look, I did buy some YMAX at this price, but that's just because I had the funds available, and I'm looking to hold YMAX for a little bit more of a long-term battle. It's not something that I'm looking to day trade or get in and out of. It's something that I'm looking to buy and hold and receive monthly income off of. So I don't care about buying this at different prices or falling prices. I'd rather just buy it at the lowest price that I can. Currently, I think the S&P 500 is going to fall even more, and that's why I'm just holding on to my 3 times bear S&P 500 SPXS shares. When I do see a slowdown in the percentage losses of the S&P 500, then maybe I'll look to sell my shares of SPXS. And what will I do? I will invest that into YMAX, further boosting my monthly dividend yield. That is all with the strategy. And then as the S&P 500 rises again, as it always does, I will purchase some more SPXS over time and repeat the process, reinvesting into YMAX. That's really my hedge against the downside. That's really the secret to my portfolio's SPXS. I know for certain time periods when the market is trending up, which is the majority of the time, it doesn't work well, and it kind of works to balance out the capital gains of YMAX. But because I'm buying it in such a small quantity compared to my YMAX position, you can see about 15% to 84%. It does look to help out a little bit in terms of capital appreciation when stocks go down, like time periods like right now. So this was just a short little video to explain kind of my portfolio, how I bought some more YMAX. That was 162 shares. You can see I have 195 shares right now, which if we translate this to monthly income at the current dividend rate of 65 cents, looking about $126. If we did it by the previous dividend rate, which hopefully we could get back to in YMAX, 195, that's about a difference of 126, $16 or so. So you could see as we accumulate more shares of YMAX, we're really just potentially banking on the dividend yield increasing for another month. And with that dividend yield increasing, let's say it went from 65 cents to 73 cents, we are going to get a huge difference in our monthly payouts, which we could then use to reinvest or to even buy different stocks, different long-term stocks, which is also cool too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of opened your eyes up to what I'm doing with my YMAX position, how I'm looking to buy more, what I'm doing with my SPXS position as the market looks to trend down maybe a little bit more. Who knows where it's going to go from here, but I'm content either way. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, we're up to 5,334 subscribers. Please do subscribe, stick around, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, guys.